two drivers with whom he would battle for the championship, Bobby Labonte and Todd Bodine, that would pull him from the wreckage. Moments like that can take a mother's breath away, as it did when Joe won his first race of the year at Indianapolis Raceway Park. He went on to capture the series title in only his third year of competition. Many other rising stars of the Busch Grand National Series are anxious to challenge in '93 and try to take the championship away from Nemechek. And the quest begins today at Daytona. ESPN's coverage of Speed Weeks '93 continues today from Daytona International Speedway as we bring you same-day delayed coverage of the Goodys 300 Busch Grand National Race. A huge crowd is on hand, the sun is shining, it's nice and warm, and we're set for an afternoon of competition. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins. Welcome again to Daytona and the Goodys 300. This race brings together the best of the Busch Grand National Division, plus a few regulars from the Winston Cup Series. It's always one of the best races of Speed Weeks at Daytona. Now, this year, Joe Nemechek, the defending champion, is back. Plus, there are some regulars from the Busch Grand National Division that are back again, but some newcomers to the series. More on this story as we go to Pit Road and John Kernan.
Well, Bob, certainly one of those young drivers has to be David Green. You recall just 2 years ago here at Daytona, he shocked the racing world by winning the pole for the Goodys 300. A very successful rookie season on the circuit with a win and a pole, but at the end of the year, he lost his ride. Then last winter, seemingly thinking that his driving career may be over, Bobby Labonte tossed out a lifeline and pulled David in, giving him a job in his racing shops. Then when Bobby decided to go Winston Cup racing this year, he said, David, how about taking the Slim Jim number 44 Chevrolet and racing it for the Busch Grand National title? A lot of people think David is one of the candidates to win the title this year, but he, along with everyone else, will of course be chasing the defending champ, Joe Nemechek. For more on him, let's go to Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, John, he began the season with a fiery blaze, but Lakeland, Florida's Joe Nemechek ended the year as a ball of fire and became the 1992 Busch Grand National Series champion. He returns today to the scene of his worst nightmare. His task, not only to survive, but to win the Goodys 300. But the odds are against him. A Busch Grand National Series regular has not won this race since 1980, and he is just one of 4 Busch regulars to qualify in the top 10. He is surrounded by Winston Cup veterans, including the Intimidator, 3-time and defending Goodys 300 champion, Dale Earnhardt. And remember, guys, Earnhardt has won everything this week except the Florida Lottery. Bob?
All right, thank you, Jerry. Benny and me in the booth today. Ned has a CBS obligation. 51 drivers attempted to qualify for this field, and a lot of big names didn't even make it.
Bob, we've talked about for years, every time we do a Busch Grand National race, we keep talking about what an advantage the Winston Cup drivers have. I think the Busch Grand National drivers have arrived. 51 drivers tried to make the field. Mark Martin, Phil Parsons, Rick Mast did not qualify for the Goodys 300. Now let's go back through the lineup. Back to 20th, we find Darrell Waltrip, Terry Labonte 24th, Sterling Marlin 26th, Davey Allison 27th, Jimmy Spencer 34th, and Dale Jarrett's car, which will be driven today by Mark Martin, all the way back in 34th. I think the Busch Grand National drivers have arrived.
Well, certainly the crowd has arrived here, and also Pete Sutton has arrived. He's down on the line and ready to give the command to get this event underway.
Goodys headquarters at Daytona International Speedway are proud to welcome Pete and Betty Sutton to the Goodys 300. Mr. Sutton is the vice president of Winn-Dixie Stores, and he has the most important words in auto racing. Mr. Pete Sutton.
Drivers, start your engines.
44 drivers answer the call. They have fired their engines, and we get set now for 120 laps of competition on this 2.5-mile tri-oval at Daytona International Speedway. The Goodys 300 Busch Grand National Race is just moments away on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil. By Smooth Busch Beer and Easy Drinkin' Busch Light. And by Split Fire, the patented performance spark plug. It only costs more until you use it. 44 drivers are ready to go, and we'll be back with the starting lineup in just a moment.
Burt Reynolds for Quaker State.
The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will. You know, when it comes to protecting against friction, nothing beats Quaker State. When it comes to protecting against viscosity breakdown, nothing beats Quaker State. When it comes to keeping engines clean, nothing beats Quaker State. Take it from me, for unbeatable protection, nothing beats Quaker State. It's one tough motor oil.
What is a mountain man's natural environment? Let's explore. A mountain man enjoys peaceful surroundings. A place where gentle winds blow. And the beauty of nature is all about. Only here does the mountain man find true happiness with a smooth bush beer or an easy drinking bush light. So, head for the mountains and find out how the true mountain man can make any environment a more natural one.
My truck has 99,000 miles on it, and it's like a brand new engine.
America is talking about split fire.
I feel like I have a new engine.
No hesitation. You hit your passing gear, you're gone. Right now.
Split fire won a United States patent. It doesn't look like any other spark plug. It doesn't work like any other spark plug.
I love them.
I have them on my motorcycle, my boat, and my car.
I love them. Love them.
Split fire at $5.99. America knows it only costs more till you use it.
I can say I've saved at least $3 to $4 a week.
I use the lower octane now. It seems like it runs like I had the premium in there.
I'm probably getting, I would say about 20 miles more per tank full, and that's a lot for me.
They'll pay for themselves basically in the first 6 months you own them.
Split fire. It only costs more till you use it.
Get guaranteed split fire savings at leading automotive stores from coast to coast.
Our overhead shots at Daytona from the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes. At the controls, Captain Dick Esch from Sunrise, Florida. Daytona International Speedway at a 2.5-mile tri-oval. Pole speed was 186.5. 48.254 seconds will go 120 laps, and the field is separated by just slightly over 1 second. Daytona International Speedway, constructed back in 1959. The banking in turns 1 and 2 at 31 degrees. The backstretch is 3,600 feet in length. Banked at 6 degrees. Turns 3 and 4 also at 31 degrees. And then when they come into the tri-oval, which is 2,400 feet in length, the banking is 18 degrees. Now let's take a look at the starting lineup for the 35th running of the Goodys 300. Ken Schrader is on the pole with a 186.513. Jeff Burton alongside in the number 8, Baby Ruth Ford. Second row, Joe Nemechek, defending series champion, the Dentine Chevy number 87. Then Michael Waltrip in the number 30 Pennzoil Pontiac. Third row, Dale Earnhardt, GM Goodwrench Chevy number 3. And Robert Presley in the Alliance Chevy number 59. The fourth row, Dawsonville, Georgia's Budweiser Ford car, driven by Bill Elliott and David Green in the 44 Slim Jim Chevrolet. The fifth row, Joe Ruttman on the inside, Ernie Irvin to the outside. The sixth row, Tom Peck on the inside in 11th starting position, and then Butch Miller. Going to row number 7, it's Tim Fedewa in number 55 and Rodney Combs in number 1. The 8th row, Bobby Dotter in 08 and Harry Gant in number 7. The 9th row has Larry Pearson returning to competition in number 92. The 10th row, Richard Lassiter, number 5, and Darrell Waltrip in 17. And as you look at the rest of the starting lineup, we have had a situation which will jumble the starting lineup because 9 cars and drivers qualified on Hoosier tires. And earlier today, Hoosier, in the interest of safety and fairness of competition, decided that they would withdraw, and so the 9 cars that qualified on the Hoosier start at the rear of the pack. The green flag is out. The Goodys 300 is underway.
That's Kenny Schrader on the pole, the blue and white car on the right side. That's Jeff Burton, the white car on the left. And Schrader gets a jump, takes the lead, brings Joe Nemechek with him.
A little bit of dust kicked up there at the
that's a crossover gate,
yes. Yeah, no problem. Just a lot of dust because that's where the passenger traffic came over the racetrack earlier today. Cars battling side by side, but the first three are in single file formation. That is Kenny Schrader, Nemechek, and Dale Earnhardt as they come off of corner number 4 and about ready to complete lap number 1. Schrader is showing the way.
Looks like the race for 6th or 7th is the side-by-side. Ernie Irvan, David Green.
Green is on the inside of the number 44 car that Bobby Labonte drove last year. Ernie Irvan is up high on the banking off of the second corner now and down the backstretch. Irvan grabbed the 7th position. There's Harry Gant and number 7 beginning to make a move. Bill Elliott is on the low side of the racetrack, and the number 19 car on the high side is driven by Tom Peck. It's still Ken Schrader up front. Nemechek is right on the rear spoiler, along with Dale Earnhardt and Michael Waltrip. Jeff Burton, Robert Presley, and then Ernie Irvan, the top 7.
Irvan was able to make that pass. Now he's in single file. He had some aspirations of passing Presley on the outside coming off the tri-oval, but fell back.
Mike Wallace started back in 29th position in car number 9. This is our National Head Injury Foundation in-car camera.
That's Hermes Sadler right directly in front of him. This is his first Busch Grand National race at Daytona.
Looks like Mike is trying to pick up the draft there behind him as they head back into the... Oh, some contact there.
Wow, that was close. Woo.
And our other in-car camera, the Winn-Dixie in-car camera, being driven by Mark Martin. As Benny told you, Mark himself did not make the field, so he took over the car that was previously qualified by Dale Jarrett, brought the sponsorship along with him, and Mark Martin is moving up through the field. Jerry Punch has a comment.
Actually, Bob, it was pretty difficult for Mark to be able to work it out, but they wanted to because the Winn-Dixie sponsorship for Mark did not get in the field on his Ford, and so they decided to put it on Dale Jarrett's car, who qualified the car with no sponsorship. So, Food Line is Dale Jarrett's sponsor. Winn-Dixie is Mark's sponsor. Shell is Dale Jarrett's sponsor. It's Valvoline for Mark. Chevrolet for Jarrett. Ford for Mark. But they said, we'll work it out. Mark, you drive the car. Let's win the Goodys 300.
Cooperation is the name of the game to get into the field. Martin making a strong move there on the bottom of the racetrack. Moves up along and past Richard Lassiter. And a car is in the pits already. That's the 16 car driven by Jeff Green.
They're looking at the right rear tire like he might have a flat. The chassis is probably either real loose, real tight, one or the other, trying to figure out if they have a flat tire.
That's Joe Nemechek in number 87, followed by Ernie Irvan and then Harry Gant.
And Nemechek has fallen back to fourth spot.
Right? Yep.
Michael Walker was able to get by him, and here goes Ernie.
Ernie Irvan goes inside, headed for turn number 3, and passes Joe Nemechek and takes over 4th position. Harry Gant now looking to follow Ernie on the low side of the racetrack. Up front, it is Schrader, Earnhardt, and Michael Waltrip.
The car of Harry Gant is sponsored by Black Flag, one of those insect sprays.
Robert Presley teams up with Harry Gant there on the low side of Nemechek. Gant and Nemechek are side by side as they come off the corner onto the backstretch. Nemechek is holding on the outside, but now Harry pulls about a half a car length ahead as he's got Presley behind him, and Nemechek up on the high side has Jeff Burton in the Baby Ruth car.
That Baby Ruth car last year driven by Jeff Gordon. He moved up to Winston Cup, and they moved the sponsorship over to the Phil Martasi team with Jeff Burton.
6 laps are about to be completed with Ken Schrader having led all the way so far. Earnhardt is second, followed by Michael Waltrip. We're at Daytona International Speedway.
Our family's always been careful when it comes to the medicines we take. I remember there was only one brand of pain reliever my mother ever trusted, Goodys. Today, we still rely on Goodys for headaches or any kind of pain. We really like Goodys pain relief tablets. They're a tablet form of Goodys headache powders made with the same proven formula. Just as strong, just as fast. For this family, for any kind of pain, we trust Goodys.
Goodys, a name you can trust.
Jumpstart your heart twice this summer as the stars of NASCAR Winston Cup Racing invade Pocono Raceway for the June 13th Champion Spark Plug 500 and the July 18th Pocono Summer 500. Both races sold out in 92, so order now while tickets last. Call toll-free 1-800-RACEWAY. Operators standing by. For vacation information, call 1-800-POCONOS. If this doesn't get your heart started, nothing will.
Hey, you want to take 4 of your luckiest friends to the college basketball championships in New Orleans? Just dial 1-900-370-FAB5 to enter and win ESPN's Fab 5 Fantasy Basketball Weekend. It's only 95 cents. You get 95 cents sitting around, and you got to be 18 years or older. Your own jet, luxury hotel accommodations, great restaurants, and the best seats for all the games. Hang with guys like Dick Vitale. ESPN's Fab 5 Fantasy Basketball Weekend in New Orleans. Sponsored by Quaker State and Pizza Hut. Call right now.
No phone call required. Ken Schrader, Dale Earnhardt, Michael Waltrip, Ernie Irvan, and Joe Nemechek are the first 5 after 6 of 120 laps. With us today, continuing a 68-year tradition of appearances at major sporting events, the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes, and that's where our overhead shots are coming from. It is still the same running order as it was when we left you. Ken Schrader, followed very closely by Dale Earnhardt and Michael Waltrip. And those 3 have sort of separated themselves from the rest of the field. Back to 4th is Ernie Irvan, and now that Irvan is hooked up in a draft with about 4 other cars, they should be catching this lead trio.
I think these fellows right now, Bob, are being patient. They're just sitting in line so that they don't have to race, but with these 3 cars, if they start passing each other, they're going to let the field catch them, and now all of a sudden they're going to have to race 10 or 15 cars. They'll probably stay in line until the first pit stop.
It's a long way, 300 miles, 120 laps, and so you got to pace yourself in this kind of an event. You don't want to wear the car out in the first 100 or 200 miles.
AC Delco, the sponsor on Schrader's car, the leader.
First 4 drivers, of course, just getting in some track time today. Their real big event is the Daytona 500 by STP, which goes tomorrow. And now, as you can see, Ernie Irvan and the 3 drivers behind him have all caught up to the lead trio, making it 7 cars nose to tail down the backstretch.
You see, they're averaging 185 miles per hour, and they qualified at 186 miles an hour, so they're racing at about qualifying speed.
Here's Jeff Burton moving to the inside, and Mark Martin has really moved up through the traffic.
There we see Terry Labonte. That white car in front is Terry Labonte. Joe Rutland, Sterling Marlin in the black 48. And there's Bill Elliott, Darrell Waltrip, and that's Jimmy Spencer down on the inside. He's driving Jack Ingram's car. You fans will remember Iron Jack Ingram out of Asheville, North Carolina.
The winningest driver in Grand National competition. Bill Elliott may have a problem. Is that what I'm hearing, Jerry?
He has radioed to his pits, Bob, and said he might have a right rear tire going down. Elliott, apparently, they think he has a tire going down. He's radioed the crew here on pit road, getting set possibly for him to make a quick dash in the pits. An early unscheduled pit stop for Elliott.
He's running back in 12th right now. He was 10th, so he's dropped off a couple of positions as Darrell Waltrip moves a 17 car to his inside and tries to pick up that spot. Jimmy Spencer is in the car right behind the 2. Meanwhile, back up front,
we got a new leader. Dale Earnhardt, the Goodwrench Chevrolet, has taken over. He brought Michael Waltrip and Ernie Irvan with him. Meanwhile, Kenny Schrader's back and forth.
Yeah, Schrader led the first 9 laps, and then this is what happened at the end of the backstretch as Earnhardt moved inside.
He just blew right by, and Schrader backed off the gas a little bit and let him go.
And now Schrader falls from 1st to 4th. 3 cars up right now are Earnhardt, Michael Waltrip, and Ernie Irvan.
I tell you what, they look to me like they're running a little bit faster with Earnhardt in the lead. Remember how we had 7 cars nose to tail? Now we just got 3 cars. And Schrader, he may be losing ground on this lead threesome.
Yeah, he doesn't have anybody to draft with, and so those front 3 are probably going to put even more racetrack between themselves and Schrader back in 4th spot. Earnhardt looking for his 4th straight win of this event. He's won this race 5 times since this series began in 1982, and he's looking for 4 wins in a row. He's won the last 3.
I'll tell you what, his car is looking awfully strong. Of course, he's won about everything he's been in this week. He has won everything he's been in.
That's right. He's been in the Busch. He was in the Busch Clash, and he was in the Twin 125 qualifier, of course. He won both of those, but said during the Victory Lane interview in the Twin 125 that he loves to visit Victory Lane at Daytona, but he sure would like to be there tomorrow.
I'm sure he would. Never has won 18 times. Did I read he's won 18 times in Daytona? But
yep, there it is.
But he has never won the 500.
5 Goodies, 6 125s, 5 Busch Clashes, 4 weathered 1 Daytona 400 that's run in July, and the IROC race here. But a Daytona 500 win eludes him, and you can bet he's going to be trying to accomplish that feat tomorrow afternoon here at Daytona. Jerry, how about an update on Bill Elliott?
Actually, Bob, what happened, the NASCAR observers around the racetrack reported that Elliott looked like he had a right rear tire. Did not come from Bill Elliott. And apparently they have spoken with Al Elliott. He said he does not have a vibration. The car looks to be going quite well. And Gene Roberts-Kripke says we don't have a problem. So that's the crew.
And a battle for the lead up front as we'll continue to watch Bill Elliott. But now we watch Michael Waltrip take the number 30 car to the inside of Earnhardt and battle door handle to door handle with him in the 3rd turn as Ernie Irvan is right on the 30's back spoiler.
So now Ernie has chosen Michael Waltrip to go with as he comes off the corner. Whichever car he chooses is the guy that's going to end up leading the race.
Now
look at Earnhardt, how strong he is.
Yep, they decided to fall in behind Earnhardt as he showed some momentum coming off the 4th corner.
Meanwhile, our pole sitter, Schrader, has fallen back to 6th place.
But he does have some cars to draft with at least. So that threesome should be coming up with the lead trio.
Now see what happened when Michael Waltrip and Dale Earnhardt raced through that 3rd and 4th corner. They let that back 3, that next 3 cars, almost catch them. They're led by Jeff Burton and Harry Gant.
And that's how quickly things can change in the draft. Now Irvan is looking to the inside of Michael Waltrip for 2nd position in the 4th corner.
That's going to be a hard pass. It's going to be impressive if he can pull it off.
Now he decides to drop in behind Michael Waltrip. So the order remains the same. It's Earnhardt, Michael Waltrip, Ernie Irvan, Jeff Burton, Joe Nemechek, and Ken Schrader at Daytona International Speedway. Back in a moment.
Come on in for a winter of fun. Play Pebble Beach, Spyglass Hill, Pinehurst No. 2, or Quinto del Lago on one of our 4 state-of-the-art simulators. Swing away in our spacious driving range. Fine-tune your stroke on our putting green. Take a lesson from PGA pros John Paul or Mike Swim. Try or buy a set of clubs from the Golf and Ski Warehouse, or relax in our game room or lounge. Winter leagues, Friday night couples, weekly long drive and putting contests, tournaments, and more. Join the fun today at Winter Links.
Long ago, in a place where there was nothing, something incredible began to happen. As the centuries passed, a beautiful forest blossomed, and all was well. Then one day, a man was careless. And once again, there was nothing.
It's a President's Day Big Monday. Richmond faces George Washington. Connecticut goes up against Syracuse. Oklahoma State beats the Nebraska Cornhuskers, and Pacific battles Nevada.
ESPN Speed World today at Daytona International Speedway in the Goodies 300, and Captain Dick Esch from Sunrise, Florida is at the helm of the Stars and Stripes, the Goodyear blimp. That's the blimp that's giving you the overhead shots today here at Daytona. On the racetrack, it is still Dale Earnhardt leading Michael Waltrip, Ernie Irvan, Jeff Burton, Harry Gant, and Ken Schrader. Those 6 cars are running in the lead draft, and now they begin to lap some of the slower traffic.
Already in 18 laps, we see Earnhardt going by. That was Troy Beebe, the banana boat car. And there we see Robert Presley and Jimmy Spencer running nose to tail. But here comes the race for the lead.
There's the interval between the first 6 back to 7th position, which is Robert Presley and Jimmy Spencer, who appears to be one of the fastest cars out there. And Benny, he would probably be smart just to stay there for maybe a while and join the draft, and maybe they can catch up to this group of cars. And again, a challenge for the lead. Michael alongside Dale Earnhardt at the line. Earnhardt holds him off.
Michael just can't get by, but as long as they're racing side by side, that's going to help Spencer and those guys in the back.
He may have him, Benny. He had about a car length as they went into the corner, but Earnhardt took the Goodwrench Chevrolet up high and holds on to the lead.
I thought I was going to see 3 abreast. I thought that Ernie would dive down on the inside and try to make it 3 abreast, but he's got problems of his own on the outside. That's Jeff Burton. Now we see the cars side by side, the first 4.
Great racing. The Busch Grand National Series at its best at Daytona. There are your first 4, and coming back now to make it 2 abreast, 3 deep. Ken Schrader on the inside and Harry Gant on the outside.
And still Earnhardt holds on to the lead. Now they've got Ernie Irvan caught on the inside with no one to draft onto.
And he may go to the back here if these guys can stay in line up on top. Ernie is about to lose 3rd position. That's Jeff Burton in the number 8 Baby Ruth Ford on the outside, but Ernie battles back. John Kernan has a report on Jeff Burton.
Bob, I was talking to Jeff earlier this week, and he is extremely optimistic about this year. With Baby Ruth coming on board, a major sponsorship, some major sponsorship dollars, he feels he has a competitive team that could possibly win the Busch Grand National title. Now, these are all new cars. Remember, that team had an Oldsmobile last year, this year a Ford. They said it's been some adjustments, but so far, from the looks of things today, they've handled those adjustments very well. Now let's go further down pit road to Dr. Jerry Punch. Now take a look at Ernie Irvan's car number 4, the Kodak Chevrolet, which is battling right now for 3rd spot. NASCAR has noticed the back of the car starting to turn dark, possibly an oil leak out of the back of the Kodak Chevrolet. The rear bumper area starting to get a little bit more black. They're up here talking to the Kodak crew and watching that car very, very closely. Bob?
Well, he's fallen back to 5th spot, and now here comes Schrader in the 52, hoping to take over 5th and put Ernie all the way back to 6th position. I don't notice it, Benny, but obviously the NASCAR observers have spotted something there on the back end of Ernie's car. Meanwhile, up front, it's still Earnhardt and Michael Waltrip.
And Jeff Burton is able to get by now. He's closing up on the back of Michael Waltrip's car, bringing Harry Gant along with him.
22 laps out of 120 have been completed. Back in the pack, some other side-by-side racing. Terry Labonte is there.
Jack Sprague on the outside.
That is Larry Pearson in the 92, the black and yellow car.
I guess that's Todd Bodine. Is that Todd in the red car behind? No.
I believe it is.
Looks like Tommy Houston back behind Sprague in the blue and white car. Davey Allison, that on the inside. We've got him 3 abreast going down in the 3rd corner.
Boy, he shot by those 2, though, with ease.
Wow, did he ever? Look at Davey, how he just pulled away from these guys.
Yeah, Davey.
That's Tracy Leslie there in that red car behind Larry Pearson.
Davey is up to 21st, but boy, with moves like that, he'll be up front before long.
The white car directly behind Davey is Jim Bound. That's Chuck Bound's younger brother. Jack Sprague. Very, very close racing back there. The red and white car, red and black car was Jack Sprague.
There's Tracy Leslie in 72 and Davey Allison in number 28. He's up to 17th position already, so he's picked up 10 spots.
Well, here comes Burton.
Yeah, Burton is making a bid for 2nd position on the low side. Now drops back.
Somebody's getting black flag.
And I believe it's going to be Ernie Irvan. Jerry told us about that. Irvan, running 5th, has been black flagged. Now Harry Gant battles alongside of Burton for 3rd place.
That's a great shot from that blimp, isn't it?
It sure is.
So Harry has to fall back behind Jeff Burton. There's the top 5 cars.
Ken Schrader has fallen well off the draft. Let's see if Ernie will heed that black flag and come in now to get the car checked over. Yes, he is. He's putting on the brakes and entering the pits. After being black flagged, Ernie Irvan is coming in, and Jerry is there.
Well, Jay Smith and the rest of the Kodak crew, Larry McClure and some of the Winston Cup regulars who pit him on Sunday are also here on pit road. Apparently, they're saying he is getting some oil out of the breather tank in the rear of the car. And they come back and they will raise the trunk of the car. They're going to try to tie some cloths, some rags around the breather part of the oil tank in the rear of the car. They have the trunk up. They will top it off in fuel, costing Ernie some valuable time. He was being shown in the top 5. They put the trunk lid down. Ernie revved the engine, and he pulls away.
Ernie Irvan back out onto the racetrack, but he has lost all of that momentum he had built up running in the top 5. It's Earnhardt, Waltrip, Burton, Gant, and Schrader. Back in a moment.
Burt Reynolds talks with the Quaker State team.
Hold on. I got to get my name on the car. My fans are getting restless.
No room.
How about on the big Q?
The big Q stands alone. Stands for quality. You can't get better protection. No other oil beats Quaker State.
How about right here?
No way. Red doesn't like to be crowded.
My fans are getting demanding.
All right. We'll go get the painter.
I must have had a hard time finding the painter. Nothing beats Quaker State. It's one tough motor oil.
Hey, Mike, hand me my channel lock pliers.
Tommy, hand me that plier over there with the blue handles. What kind of pliers is that? These are channel lock tone and groove pliers. My dad uses them on his race car, too.
For the tough jobs and the small jobs, reach for Channel Lock, the handiest plier of them all.
Hey, guys, anybody seen the channel lock pliers?
Channel Lock. Be sure you're getting genuine Channel Lock pliers. Look for this trademark.
You know, working at AutoZone is more than looking up parts or ringing up sales. Most of all, it's listening. Because my customers know more about their cars than I'll ever know. They know every rattle by heart. I mean, that car is their baby. So when they've got a problem they're going to fix for themselves, I'm going to do my best to help them get whatever they need, no matter what it takes. Because people like that, they don't deserve anything less than the best I can give them.
The Goodys 300 at Daytona International Speedway. There are your top 4 plus Ernie Irvan. The top 4 are Earnhardt, Michael Waltrip, Jeff Burton, and Harry Gant. Running 4th in line is Ernie Irvan, but he is a lap down because he made a black flag pit stop to check a possible oil leak. And Jerry Punch has a report and an update on Ernie Irvan from pit road.
Bob, they brought Ernie Irvan down pit road. Apparently, he had oil coming from a breather on an oil tank in the rear of the car. They put some rags around the breather, strapped them in, wiped the rear of the car off, and Ernie Irvan has gone back on the racetrack. Unfortunately, some of the drivers who had to slow down because their windshields are being covered in oil, like Kenny Schrader. And now Ernie has come back out on the racetrack right in front of Kenny Schrader once again. So, as Kenny put it, sometimes it doesn't pay to get out of bed.
Well, Ernie running in front of Harry Gant, who has dropped back a little bit. Now he passes Jeff Burton, and maybe Jeff is going to experience that leaking oil coming back on his windshield.
Well, if Ernie still has some oil coming out of the back of the car and he gets on Burton's windshield and Jeff complains to his crew, hey, I'm getting oil on my windshield, they're going to complain to NASCAR, and then Ernie will be black flagged once again. But if the oil leak is solved, he needs to get up in front of Dale Earnhardt if he can. The caution flag should come out. He'll be able to make that entire 2.5 miles.
Well, Michael Waltrip is still running in second position, has been there for the last several laps. John, what's his strategy at this point?
Well, Bob, I tell you, I wouldn't expect Michael to pull out of that draft. I think he's going to tuck in behind Earnhardt and follow him as long as he can. They're thinking that they can conserve fuel that way, and if we continue under green flag conditions, they're not planning on pitting, but only one time for fuel, and that would be after the halfway point of lap 60. So a little roll of the dice here with Ronnie Silver in the Michael Waltrip pits.
Well, of course, pit strategy is always important in a race. We'll see if Michael Waltrip's strategy pays out for him. There's the crew checking the mileage that he's getting.
And there we see Ernie has passed Michael Waltrip. He's now is in second place. And Bob, he's got a very good race car today. It's a shame if the oil leak is solved, he could still win this thing.
He could get the lap back if he gets around Earnhardt and we have a caution. He could get his lap back then and become a contender after all.
There we see they come up on the Ed Barrier car, the Grease Lightning automobile. Earnhardt goes by. Ernie goes by and looks like he's going to stay up high and let all the fellows go by on the inside.
Now moving back to the second pack, it's led by Ken Schrader, the pole sitter. That is Robert Presley behind him. And then behind Robert is Jimmy Spencer and Bill Elliott.
And these fellows have been maintaining that distance for the past few laps. Looks like they're running about as fast as the leader, and meanwhile there is the leader, Dale Earnhardt.
And we understand that Michael Waltrip is complaining that his windshield is getting covered with oil. And so that problem that Ernie Irvan got black flagged for may continue to be a problem. Meanwhile, he sure isn't driving like it. He's trying to get his lap back by passing the leader, Dale Earnhardt.
Tell you what, Earnhardt's car is really fast today. Did you see him up on the high side just pull back by Ernie Irvan?
But Ernie,
he may have him.
Yeah, he may.
And then again, he may not.
Earnhardt is way up on that 31 degrees of banking. Irvan takes a run at him coming off the corner. Pulls alongside of him down the backstretch. 3,600 feet here that they'll cover in about 4 seconds. But no, Earnhardt is continuing to keep him back there. And Michael, I'm sure, would rather run there than behind the 4 car if it is still leaking.
He could play dirty pool and help the 4 car go by Earnhardt and let Earnhardt get his windshield covered with oil. If, in fact, the 4 car is leaking oil. Very evenly matched, Bob, wouldn't you say, all these cars?
These 5 cars have been running together for the last several laps. After we lost Ken Schrader in the draft, these 5 cars have stayed right together. Ernie back in 36, the lap down, but not representative of how well that car is working.
It's Bobby Donner, I think, the yellow car they were overtaking.
We have not had a caution so far in the first 36 laps of this race. It is moving along very quickly at an average speed in excess of 186 miles an hour, and that is as fast or faster than they qualified. And the race record is only 157.1, of course, with some cautions, and that's held by Jeff Bodine.
As a matter of fact, Bob, that's almost exactly the speed that they qualified, and they've averaged, Earnhardt has averaged that for 36 laps.
Not bad. Of course, remember, when they're out there qualifying, they're by themselves, and the car is doing everything it can by itself. But when you get out there with other cars, you've got the advantage of the draft that can indeed increase the speed.
And it does substantially, obviously. You know, Earnhardt is really, his car seems to be very good on the bottom of the racetrack. He moves to the top of the racetrack. His car seems to be good. I guess he's just trying different places. Well, that's 2 identical cars almost, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's Randy McDonald on the inside. That's Goodrich of Canada, I think.
Yep, this race had 20 states represented, plus the province of Ontario in Canada. That Randy McDonald. The 87 car of Joe Nemechek, the defending champion of this series, has fallen back to 24th position, well out of the draft. So Joe Nemechek is not having very good luck here in the first race of 1993. Well, Joe Nemechek, you would think, has a rather small operation for his Busch Grand National effort. Not so. Here is a track fact. Track facts are brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
We're in Joe Nemechek's shop. He's a 1992 Busch Grand National champion, and race cars every place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 race cars, Joe, and we've only got about 3,000 square feet. How do you move around in here?
Benny, we had to face that problem. We didn't have a large area of room for all of our race cars. So what we had to do, we came up with a caster mount system on these cars. We weld a lightweight piece of metal to the frame that the caster actually slides into. You put 4 casters on a car, and you can push them around. You can do anything you want to do with the cars.
Well, you just touched that car and it started rolling. Let me try this. Let me try. Hey, look at this. Hey, that's nice, Joe.
It solved the problem.
Well, Nemechek has some problems here today because, as we said, he has fallen back to 24th spot. 40 laps completed in the Goodys 300.
Burt Reynolds talks with the Quaker State team.
Hold on. I got to get my name on the car or my fans are getting restless.
No room.
How about on the big Q?
The big Q stands alone. Stands for quality.
You can't get better protection.
No other oil beats Quaker State.
How about right here?
No way. Red doesn't like to be crowded.
My fans are getting demanding.
All right. We'll go get the painter.
They must have had a hard time finding the painter. Nothing beats Quaker State. It's one tough motor oil.
Come on in for a winter of fun. Play Pebble Beach, Spyglass Hill, Pinehurst No. 2, or Quinto del Lago on one of our 4 state-of-the-art simulators. Swing away in our spacious driving range. Fine-tune your stroke on our putting green. Take a lesson from PGA pros John Paul or Mike Swim. Try or buy a set of clubs from the Golf and Ski Warehouse, or relax in our game room or lounge. Winter leagues, Friday night couples, weekly long drive and putting contests, tournaments, and more. Join the fun today at Winter Links.
Long ago, in a place where there was nothing, something incredible began to happen. As the centuries passed, a beautiful forest blossomed, and all was well. Then one day, a man was careless. And once again, there was nothing.
March 4th, the American Sports Awards, the ESPYs, when all of sports will unite for one big ceremony. We'll honor the outrageous, the outstanding, the showstoppers, and the memorable plays and personalities of the year.
The best part of the evening will be Chris in black tie, and you haven't seen somebody this uncomfortable in a tux since Johnny Weissmuller in Tarzan Goes to New York.
Don't miss the ESPYs, presented by General Motors and Reebok, Thursday night, March 4th on ESPN.
ESPN Speed World at Daytona for the Goodys 300, and Dale Earnhardt continues to lead Michael Waltrip, who is in second position again. Ernie Irvin, the car there, third in line, is a lap down because of a possible oil leak.
He had to make a pit stop. They put some rags around a breather, tied it around, and maybe he stopped the problem because NASCAR is not black flagging again.
He is certainly making the car run well, no question about that. It has not slowed him down in any way. But it's still Earnhardt, and boy, that car has been flawless so far.
He can run high. We see this time he's going high, he's running high, he's running low. Anywhere on the racetrack gets a crash.
Crash in turn 2. That's Todd Bodine in the 34 car that's made heavy contact with the outside wall. One other car,
Terry Labonte in the white 14.
Down in the grass. There may have been a couple of other cars involved. Looks like Todd is going to be able to get the car started again. But the fiddle-faddle machine is crunched.
It is crunched. And there we can see, here's the car. Is that Mark Martin?
It's Mark Martin in 32, yep. Looks like he may have had contact with Todd. Front of that car is banged up.
Labonte's spin. I don't think Labonte has made any contact with anything.
It may have come close to the inside wall, but I don't believe it did either, Benny. Here it is from another angle.
Never see Labonte's car spinning around. I don't see any. Oh, that's Tom Peck.
Peck, yep.
SK2's car down on the inside. I didn't see any contact on his car either.
And from the in-car camera driven by Mark Martin.
Oh! So Mark Martin evidently has the same kind of damage to the front of his car.
Boy, that was heavy impact. The 34 car has made it back to the pit area, and they're assessing the damage right now, but it is banged up in the front and the back.
It's hard to think they could fix that car so he could go back on the racetrack even at any kind of speed.
First caution of this race coming out on lap number 41. And there you can see Todd, who has gotten out of the car and is himself surveying the damage, so obviously he isn't injured. But the fiddle-faddle car has been badly damaged in an accident in turn number 2 41 laps into the 120-lap Goodys 300.
Oil. It's the lifeblood of your engine. That makes your oil filter your engine's most vital organ. That's why Fram keeps going the extra mile to make the best protection even better. The Fram Extra Guard oil filter. Unique glass fiber paper stops more dirt than any other filter for the best protection ever. Fram Extra Guard. American or import, it's an extra lease on life.
Today we're going to prepare a spicy little thing. You're going to like it, I guarantee. Took all the hottest things in your kitchen and put them in one big pot. Ooh, that look good already. Took the whole thing and lowered it slow like in the water. Now you stir real fast. And just watch it cook.
Fuel. It's got to be the best, especially when you fire up. It's got to provide efficient turnover. It's got to be lean and have some rare qualities. A WD brand steak from Winn-Dixie. It'll definitely get your motor racing. Oh, the car? It takes high test.
Speed Week from the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. A complete wrap-up on Speed Weeks 93, including results of the Super Bowl of Stock Car Racing, Sunday at 8 o'clock Eastern. Speed Week, your source for the most extensive Daytona coverage. We'll go back to green shortly from our first caution period of the day, caused by an accident out in turn number 2. And here is Jerry Punch with Todd Bodine.
Bob Todd has climbed from the car. Todd, the car heavily damaged your Chevrolet. What happened out there?
Well, Darrell got caught out of the draft going into one, and I eased up a little bit. Was going to let him back up in line, and I don't know if Chuck got in the back of me or just the air got me or whatever, just a racing deal. And I tried to keep it straight, but it just wanted to come around. It's a shame for this Fiddle Faddle Chevrolet, new sponsor in Fiddle Faddle, and you know, we just wanted to finish. We haven't finished this race yet since I've been racing. It's a shame. We had a good car.
Brother Brett helping work on the car. How bad is it? Can you get it back in?
Well, it's not going to be competitive by no means, but you know, we'll get in, ride around, get some points.
Todd Bodine, a 3-time winner last year, has a tough start to 1993.
And here's how it looked from the in-car camera carried by Mark Martin.
We can see Mark Martin going along, and we haven't seen the nose of his car, but I guarantee you it looks like the front end of the 34 car.
Yeah, he drove the car into the garage area, so they're working on it there. Meanwhile, the green flag has come out. We are back to racing, and Michael Waltrip beat Dale Earnhardt out of the pit area. And so as the green comes out, Michael Waltrip is the leader of the race.
And you see the Busch Grand National cars restart the faster cars on the inside, slow cars on the outside, just the opposite of the Winston Cup cars.
And Ernie Irvin was not able to get his lap back. He was positioned outside of Michael at the drop of the green flag, but as you can see, Waltrip has pulled away from Ernie, so he's still a lap down.
And meanwhile, Robert Presley got out of the pits third. Good pit stop for him. And all these cars, fuel only, did not change any tires. As a matter of fact, I don't think that any of the lead cars will change tires all day. They'll run 300 miles on the set of tires.
Robert Presley solidly in third position, challenged from behind by Jimmy Spencer, and that's Jeff Burton up on the outside.
And look at Jimmy Spencer on the inside. Food City Chevrolet of Jack Ingram's.
And look at Dale Earnhardt as he moves inside and passes Michael Waltrip with ease and takes the lead back. Robert Presley now challenging Michael Waltrip for second spot as they're side-by-side off the second corner.
The press is cut on the inside with no drafting partner unless it's Jimmy Spencer behind him. Close up on his back bumper. That'll help.
Also involved in this draft, besides Jeff Burton up there in white, is Bill Elliott.
Ooh, Spencer almost lost control of that car going in the third corner.
That thing slid way up the banking on him and almost bumped Jeff Burton.
Man,
well, Jimmy Spencer with an impressive performance, and here's more from John Kernan.
guys, it's extremely impressive that Jimmy's out there right now. A couple of weeks ago, they didn't even know that they were going to be down here at Daytona. He's running 6 to 8 Busch Grand National races for Jack Ingram this year. A couple of weeks ago, they said, yeah, why not? Let's go to Daytona. So they put it all together. Jimmy says that they got everything clicking this week. He says his main problem today may be patience. He knows he has to be there at the end in order to win the race. So look for some big things out of Jimmy Spencer today.
Well, Spencer started all the way back in 31st position, but now is right up there with the leaders and continuing to see Ernie Irvan try to get that lap back. And Benny, again, we emphasize that problem that he might have with the breather, the oil breather, is not slowing the car down in any way.
No, it's not slowing it down at all. As we can see, he's one of the fastest cars out there. If it, in fact, is losing any oil, it's only the people behind him that have a problem because the oil would get on the windshield, as some of the drivers have been complaining about.
Jerry Punch has an update on our pole sitter, Ken Schrader.
Well, Ken Schrader made a pit stop when they had the caution flag a few minutes ago for the Todd Bodine incident, but he had to come back down pit road again because he was tapped by a slower car. He was exiting the pits and bent the right front fender in against the tire. So Timmy Kohuth called him back in. They pulled the fender away, and unfortunately for Schrader, it put him back in the pack. The car's running well, but he's mired way back in heavy traffic.
Yeah, he restarted in 28th position and has picked up a few spots since that time, but it's a long way up to the front. This is the National Head Injury Foundation in-car camera being carried by Mike Wallace, and that, of course, is Schrader in the AC Delco car right in front of him. The one car of Rodney Combs is to the right of Mike Wallace.
Bob, you touched on at the beginning of the show, the one car, Rodney Combs, was one of 9 that qualified on Hoosier tires. Well, Hoosier decided for the sake of safety, they would withdraw their tires. He had to change to Goodyear tires and start at the rear of the field, and I'm sure he's having problems getting his car adjusted to the Goodyear tires.
There's Wallace in the number 9 cars. That's Rodney Combs running right beside him. Meanwhile, up front, it is Irvan passing Michael Waltrip and now moving in behind the leader, Dale Earnhardt.
And Bill Elliott has got the Budweiser Ford up in the 5th spot. That's a Jim Ruggles engine. Would you believe that Jim Ruggles, so long associated with the Buick V6, is building some Ford V6s this year? This is the Bill Elliott car, has the Ruggles engine. Also, the 8 car of Jeff Burton, I believe, has a Ruggles engine.
Ernie Irvan is a lap down, trying to get it back. Meanwhile, Robert Presley in car number 59 moves his machine to 2nd, passing Michael Waltrip off corner 2.
He made that look awfully easy.
He sure did. He just drove right by him. The first 5 cars plus Ernie Irvan right here.
Earnhardt seems to be running higher more consistently than ever. Maybe he's found that his car gets around the racetrack better, a faster speed up high than it does low. We're so accustomed to seeing that black Goodrich car on the bottom of the racetrack, right on the white line. It's just so unusual. See, like that. Like that, but down in 3 and 4, he's running the top.
There's a field summary for you. Watch for your favorite driver and see where he is running at the end of 50 laps here at Daytona in the 120-lap Goodys 300 Busch Grand National race. There's the 22 car being driven by Jeff Berry, which is very slow down the backstretch, and we understand he did make contact with the wall, but no caution on the racetrack at the moment. We'll show you the field summary. There it's complete, and now we'll replay what happened to Berry.
He's going through the trioval at the start-finish line, pulling up on the outside of Shauna Robinson, and Shauna doesn't realize he's there, comes up the hill, a little bit of contact, and puts Berry in the outside retaining wall.
Berry did a nice job of saving the car, though, and not spinning to the inside, which would have caused a very serious problem. And now he brings the car on to pit road. Jeff Berry, car number 22. He's a driver from Norwich, Connecticut. On the racetrack, it's still Earnhardt, your leader.
Now, look, this time he's on the bottom of 3 and 4. You think he doesn't have these guys confused behind him? And already they put a couple of car links on Robert Presley. He and Ernie Irvan, I'm talking about, Earnhardt and Irvan.
There's a shot from the Goodyear blimp hovering overhead, Daytona. Look at Irvin's car go up to the top of the racetrack. But Earnhardt staying right on the white line.
And you see the shorter distance that time, he was able to put, what is that, 2 car lengths on Irvin's car, just strictly by using the shorter distance around the corner. But Irvin able to make up that distance in the draft down the straightaway, and here he goes on the inside trying to make that momentum work for him. Now he knows he can come up. If his spotter tells him he can come up now, the spotter tells him he moves up.
Ernie Irvan gets himself back on the lead lap. He's in 32nd position, but he wants a caution right now. He wants a piece of debris on the racetrack that would cause a caution and allow him to get back into a competitive situation here at Daytona. You're watching the Goodys 300 from Daytona. 54 laps completed. Earnhardt is the leader. Back after this.
Burt Reynolds for Quaker State.
The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will. You know, when it comes to protecting against friction, nothing beats Quaker State. When it comes to protecting against viscosity breakdown, nothing beats Quaker State. When it comes to keeping engines clean, nothing beats Quaker State. Take it from me, for unbeatable protection, nothing beats Quaker State. It's one tough motor oil.
Mountain man survival skills. The basics. A true mountain man must have a keen sense of direction, a certain physical dexterity, and a talent for surviving the most unforgiving climates. Of course, nothing is more key to a mountain man's survival than plenty of smooth bush beer and easy drinking bush light. So, head for the mountains and learn how the mountain man survives even the most grueling conditions.
Monroe introduces road sensing technology. A new breed of Monroe shocks and struts that give you added control. New road sensing shocks and struts, only by Monroe. Designed to adjust automatically to give you added control without sacrificing comfort. Now comfort and control are automatic. New road sensing technology, only by Monroe.
The Goodys 300 from Daytona International Speedway on the day before the Daytona 500 on ESPN. 55 laps have been completed. It is an absolutely perfect day for watching an auto race in Central Florida. Temperature is in the upper 60s. And a crowd of several thousand have turned out for this event here. They're seeing some good racing, but a race that has been, for the most part, all Dale Earnhardt. And the Goodyear blimp is overhead, providing our shots from above the 2.5-mile tri-oval.
And Earnhardt is still leading the race as we go down to the racetrack. There's Tommy Houston going down pit road, making an unscheduled pit stop. There we see Jeff Berry once again. He made some contact with the outside retaining wall. He's back in the pits.
There's Tommy Houston, who is making his 331st consecutive start in Busch Grand National competition. He has never missed a race. Jerry is there.
Tommy has brought the Roses Stores Ford Thunderbird to a stop on pit road, Bob, and he radioed a minute ago to his son Scott, who's the crew chief on that car, that the engine was beginning to tighten up a little bit. So the car came by us, did not appear to be running that poorly, or not missing at all. Don Miller out of Golden Shamrock, who is the engine builder, has asked to shut the motor off. They're going to push it back up pit road and pull it behind the wall and work on it. We'll try to get a comment if we can from Tommy.
Well, the Hickory, North Carolina driver started back in 32nd position, and they'll take the car behind the wall to see if they can find the problem. Now, leading this group of 6 cars, Ernie Irvan, but he is not the leader of the race. He has gotten back on the lead lap, however. Earnhardt continues to lead. It's Waltrip, Presley, Burton, and Elliott trailing.
And Michael Waltrip has taken over that second spot since we last seen the leaders.
Well, you have to feel like that Robert Presley is going to be in a challenge for the Busch Grand National Championship this year. Of course, Earnhardt and Michael Waltrip will not be challengers for the championship because they will not run enough races to be eligible for the championship. They'll, of course, run only Grand National races when their schedule allows in Winston Cup. But Presley and Burton certainly can be contenders for the championship this year.
Meanwhile, we see Davey Allison back right at the end of the picture. He's up, has moved up, bringing Jimmy Spencer with him.
Well, it's been a good run for Allison. He started 27th and now is all the way up to 6th position.
And Jimmy Spencer started back in about 31st spot. So these guys hooked up, and here goes Spencer down on the inside. He's trying to take that spot away from Davey. He must have known the camera was on him.
They drafted together to close in, and now they reverse positions, and Spencer takes away the spot from Davey Allison.
Trying to figure out who those cars are behind. That's, I guess, Larry Pearson.
Rutman.
Joe Rutman and Larry Pearson?
No. Sterling
that's Sterling Marlin,
yeah.
The Capio car.
Capio car.
That's iced, what is it, cappuccino? Did I say that right?
Yep. Very good. Spencer, Allison, Rutman, and Marlin.
That's Dick Moroso's car. Joe Rutman driving the 20 Dick Moroso car, and as you said, sponsored by Fina.
Fina Lube. The same sponsor on his Winston Cup car.
I would imagine that Spencer said, look, let me go buy the 28 car and see if we can run faster with me in front. If we can, that's what we need to catch up with the front pack.
Right. Yeah, I don't think we could say they were necessarily racing for position there, but they just wanted to see if Spencer getting up there ahead of Allison would mean they could all close in on this lead group. And here is Earnhardt once again trying to put Irvin a lap back.
And Irvin does not want that to happen. We can see him move down, trying to slow Earnhardt down. But Earnhardt has the momentum. There's a slower car up there.
Michael Waltrip couldn't figure which way to go. He was on the bottom, moved up to the top. Now Robert Presley is on the inside, and he may
be in trouble.
Shuffled back, yeah.
Irvin trying to get some draft off that slower car up there, and it worked.
Cross flags indicating halfway through this one, it's Earnhardt out in front. And how about an update, Jerry, at the halfway point on Ernie Irvin?
Well, unfortunately for Ernie Irvin, the report from some of the drivers behind him in that package that there's something coming out of that car number 4 once again. In fact, that may be Dale Earnhardt was trying to go by him to keep him getting his windshield covered with oil to the drive.
Now Jerry having a little bit of trouble with his mic. We'll get it corrected, but again, drivers are complaining that there is something coming out of the back of that number 4 car. And as many as it went through the tri-oval, you could see a little bit of discoloration at the back of that race car.
I was not watching that, Bob. I didn't. You see, Earnhardt pulled down, take some draft, trying to get some draft off that 4 car.
And meanwhile, Jimmy Spencer and Davey Allison have caught those running up front.
So maybe that was a good move by Spencer.
Yeah.
Maybe he is, in fact, a little bit faster than Davey Allison. As we can see, they have, as you said, caught the pack.
Yep. Seven cars are in the lead draft. Actually, there are 8 cars in the lead draft, Ernie Irvin included. Here's some side-by-side competition in back of the lead group.
Butch Miller on the inside. And I think it's Kenny Schrader up on the outside. So Schrader is making some progress. If that in fact was Schrader, because he started back in about 30th spot.
Butch Miller was the top Hoosier qualifier in 12th, but when Hoosier pulled out of this race earlier today before the event started, and Miller and the other 8 drivers that did qualify on Hoosiers had to change to Goodyear, they had to go to the back of the pack. The black flag is being shown to Ernie Irvin, and he's going to have to come in again.
And here goes Spencer on the inside of Presley, and also Bill Elliott. He's already passed Elliott. He's trying to pass Spencer.
Boy, just some great racing here up front in the Goodys 300.
Elliott falls back. Davey Allison almost could pull up, but he can't now. Elliott takes a spot back. Robert Presley didn't lay over and play dead, did he?
He sure didn't. He battled right back. Now, Bill Elliott is right on his rear spoiler. As Spencer is going to drop back up in line because of the slower cars at the bottom of the track, and those slower cars include Ernie Irvin, who is heating the black flag and coming in.
That was a spotter. That was a good spotter at work, telling Spencer they're slowing down in front of you. You need to move up.
Boy, how important a spotter is. A race driver only has limited visibility, especially in a racetrack this size, and his eyes out there over the whole 2.5-mile track is the spotter working up high.
Oh, crash down turn one.
Big crash in turn number 1. There are about 5, maybe 6, could be even 7
Davey
cars.
Allison?
Well, I don't know. I believe it could involve Spencer, Allison, and others, including Joe Ruttman. Yeah, there's Davey.
The Mac Tools car. Man, look at the nose on that car. It's all beat up. Looks like Todd Bodine's.
Yeah. Some of those who were in the lead draft have crashed, and here it is again.
There we see, that was Presley. Robert Presley and Spencer made some contact. Davey runs in the side of Presley's car.
Joe Ruttman spinning up the banking.
Yes.
And the other car back here is who?
I don't know.
Beside Davey.
Might be Sterling Marlin. Then I don't know. We shouldn't say that.
Well, anyway, here's Davey Allison with smoke pouring out of the front of that car. The sheet metal is bent back on the tire. He is limping toward the pit area at the bottom of the racetrack. Robert Presley has already brought his Alliance Chevy down pit road, and so several of those who were running up in the lead draft and certainly in contention for a win here this afternoon have had their chances set back because of a multi-car tangle out in turn number 2. We'll be back with more from Daytona after these messages.
Imagine this is a sidewall of a tire. The whole idea is to keep the tread area in level contact with the road, or you'll lose traction, especially in cornering. Now, Goodyear has learned a lot in turn 1 at Indy and applied that knowledge to Eagle street radials. In cornering, there's a lot of force trying to lift the tire, but Goodyear Eagle's racing-inspired sidewall design works to hold the tire firmly to the road. Eagle radials, only from Goodyear. We like to say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
When the job is tough, you need the best. And when you need the best, you reach for Channel Lock. For the power. The precision. For just plain counting on, there's only one. Channel Lock. Be sure you're getting genuine Channel Lock tools. Look for this trademark.
A long parade of cars down pit road as pit stops are being made during our second caution of the afternoon, brought about by a multi-car accident out in turn number 2. Here comes Dale Earnhardt, Michael Waltrip, also Jeff Burton, Bill Elliott, Harry Gant, and others in for service. Jerry Punch is in the Dale Earnhardt pit.
While during his first pit stop, Earnhardt did not take any tires, just they put fuel in the car. This time, Tony Urey and the crew will change right side tires and now come around to the left side. Remember, this car only allows 4 tires, 1 tire per position, so they will use all 4 of these tires to pit on this stop.
Just about to complete the pit stop. Good work again by the GM Goodwrench crew. Earnhardt down on all 4 wheels and rolling once again.
Now, I think under NASCAR rules, that's all the tires that he can change. They can change 1 tire per position, so he has to finish the race on the 4 tires he has on there.
Here is the reason that we are under caution. It happened just behind the front 3. Now, that is Earnhardt and Michael Waltrip, but behind them, this breaks out.
Robert Presley in the black car, Jimmy Spencer in the 10, the Burgundy 10, seemed to make some contact going in the corner. They go up and hit the wall and basically blocked the racetrack, Bob, so there was no place for Davey Allison, Sterling Marlin. He was in the crash, the 48 car. Joe Ruttman, all those guys. Bill Elliott, he must have made some contact too, because yes, he did make contact. See the damage on the right front of his car.
Sure.
And the left
side,
front.
yeah, the side of the car is badly damaged too. Not badly damaged, but showing some wrinkles. But Elliott takes the Budweiser Ford back out onto the racetrack. So this changes the whole complexion of the thing. It's still pretty much Dale Earnhardt's race at this point with Michael Waltrip, his most serious challenger, but now with several gone, others enter as potential winners.
Battlestation missile forgot. Nobody can hear it. The fire. Nobody can see it.
You kind of get used to it, but then you don't.
Infrared or laser. If the president and the national command, any nation, seeing ballistic missiles coming in, I am prepared to carry out any order to launch these missiles. Duck and cover. That is the end of the world.
Submarine Sharks of Steel, a 4-part world premiere series. Sunday at 7 Eastern, 8 Pacific, only on the Discovery Channel.
Investing in a new set of wheels? Sundays. Get the best new car advice on television. Each week, racing legend Big Daddy Don Garlett and Larry Black bring you straight talk on the safety, economy, and performance of the newest makes and models of domestic and foreign cars, pickups, vans, and sports utility vehicles, hot off the assembly line. Road Test Magazine. Sundays, 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 Central on TNN, the Nashville Network.
Of your luckiest friends to the college basketball championships in New Orleans. Just dial 1-900-370-FAB5 to enter and win ESPN's Fab 5 Fantasy Basketball Weekend. It's only 95 cents. You get 95 cents sitting around, and you got to be 18 years or older. Your own jet, luxury hotel accommodations, great restaurants, and the best seats for all the games. Hang with guys like Dick Vitale. ESPN's Fab 5 Fantasy Basketball Weekend in New Orleans. Sponsored by Quaker State.
We're still under caution here at Daytona, but we're going back green in just a few moments. The pace car still has the field in tow. Coming off of our second caution of the day, brought about by a multi-car accident out in turn number 2 that has eliminated several contenders, including Davey Allison, Robert Presley, Joe Rutman, Jimmy Spencer, and Sterling Marlin. Green flag comes out on lap 71, and we're back to racing.
And Harry Gant now has the lead. Joe Nemechek up into second, and that's David Green in third. These fellows did not change tires. We saw Earnhardt change 4 tires. He's back mired in the pack.
But you can bet that those cars with the fresher tires will be coming through.
You see Terry Labonte down the inside.
3 abreast at the end of the backstretch. Closing it now down now to 2 abreast. There's David Green in car number 44.
Steve Grissom in the blue 31.
And the 97 car is Joe Bessie, one of the Busch Grand National North competitors.
And look at him come off the corner. Is that 3 abreast? Oh man, they all.
Oh, we got a spin. Michael Waltrip is in the wall. Somebody hit him. 98 car, looks like.
Jim Bound also involved, and there's another car spinning with some pretty heavy damage to the car.
Boy, when we were watching that whole group of cars that were 3 abreast coming off 4, and this happened behind that, and I don't know whether Michael was hit by someone or not, but he got sideways, and as he hit the outside wall, he was hit by Jim Bound. And here is who? Larry Pearson,
the Stanley Tools car. Some heavy damage to his car.
He spun behind Waltrip and Bound. He takes the car behind the wall. Well, we're glad to see Larry Pearson back in Busch Grand National competition, former champion of this division, but we certainly didn't want to see his first race back in that way, and Michael Waltrip is out surveying the damage. All right, let's take a look at it and see if we can tell what happened.
There we see Michael. He's already in the wall, and we can't really tell what happened. And back there we see Larry Pearson at the very top of the picture spinning. That's Jim Bound, the white car who ran in the back of. That's Jim Bound running in the back of the 30 car. And we see, looks like Shauna Robinson just barely
She did a good job.
By. Whoa.
She did a fantastic job of missing all the mess.
That's Jim Bound walking over to the ambulance, waving to the crowd, telling him he's okay.
And John Kernan is with Ronnie Silver.
Ronnie, have you had a chance to talk with Michael to find out exactly what happened out there? Maybe some oil on the track?
All he said was he'd gotten a little oil.
and spun, but I heard on the intercom there that it mashed the back end of it, and we were going to be out of the race. So the Pennzoil Pontiac was really running good. We was really looking forward to those last laps if we'd have got back when it all got back where it was, but maybe next time.
Maybe next time. That's Ronnie Silver, Michael Walters, crew chief, and one of the saddest things you can see down on pit road, the teams wrapping up, getting their tools put back into the carrier to haul back to the garage area.
And so another contender falls by the wayside, and here's Earnhardt coming in.
All right, he's going to try to make it to one of two things. He's going to try to make it the rest of the way on gas or his windshield. Someone was losing some oil, and he has oil on the windshield. They're really doing a massive cleanup job on the windshield. Look at him trying to get the windshield cleaned up. I guess that's what this is all about.
I would guess so, yeah.
Well, how'd you like to run about 190 miles an hour and can't see where you're going?
Yeah, I sure would. I wouldn't run 190 miles an hour if I had 20/20 vision. They got the problem corrected on the windshield of that car, and they've got a full tank of fuel in it. We are 12 laps past the halfway mark, so he'll probably be able to run the entire rest of the distance. We'll take another break and be back with more of our coverage of the Goodys 300, part of Speed Weeks 93 at Daytona International Speedway.
When 280 seemed out of reach, it's Joe Amato and Autolite who punch it. The wall goes to 290. Connie Coletta and Autolite smash it. 300, the barrier. Kenny Bernstein and Autolite shatter it. Autolite and the record breakers. Wow, I feel good. We feel pretty good about that.
Pure and natural. Budweiser, king of beers.
In IndyCar racing, when it rains, we don't race on super speedways. But we're running this IndyCar on Goodyear Eagles to prove a point about wet traction, cornering, and stopping. What's the point? These are not Goodyear Racing Eagles. They're Eagle GSC street radials with dual tread design for outstanding traction in the dry and in the wet. Eagle GSC street radials only from Goodyear. We like to say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them. There's no event like it in the world. Modern-day pioneers and their devoted companions challenging the Alaskan wilderness to win the Iditarod. Sunday afternoon at 3:30 Eastern on ESPN.
Just about to go back to green from our third caution period of the day. Michael Waltrip in the wall in turn number 4, and he is out of the race. Well, you thought that NASCAR just sanctioned stock car racing? Wrong. Today, they took another step. They began sanctioning the Mayflower Truck Driver Challenge. 3 events coming up this year. The first one was today. Now, 2 identically prepared Mayflower trucks went side by side on 2 identical obstacle courses. And the driver with the fastest time was declared the winner. They went through the pylons, making sure that all the adjustments were just right, making sure that their skill levels were just right. Well, some of the time. Anyway, the driver with the best performance today was Ricky Simmons, sponsored by the Citgo Racing Team. He did it in a minute 4.94 with no penalties. Congratulations to Ricky Simmons. Our AutoZone race recap. Harry Gant has led 8 of the 75 laps that we have completed so far. 3 caution periods, total of 14 laps, 7 lead changes among 5 drivers, and the average speed because of our cautions down to just a little over 151 miles an hour. Those that have dropped out of the race include Sprague, Martin, most of these because of accidents that we have had on the course. And as far as lap leaders are concerned, well, there are the 5. Earnhardt, Schrader, Gant, Michael Waltrip, who's out, and Larry Pearson, who was also involved in that most recent crash. Harry Gant is at the top of the field right now as they take the green flag and go back to racing with Joe Nemechek running in second spot.
Yes, takes him down in turn 1. He and Nemechek able to get by Joe Bessie, the slower car on the outside.
Manny, that Truckers Challenge, those truckers probably going to have their hands full getting some of these damaged cars back to wherever they belong. But that's
get them on the back of the trucks, get them loaded up, because some of the wheels, I'm sure, are not going to want to go straight.
And I believe if I had a house full of furniture to move, I'd call on Mr. Ricky Simmons, who appears to be the best, at least out of those who competed in the Mayflower Truck Challenge today.
Ricky Simmons is the truck driver of the Citco Ford. That's how he was in the competition. It was truck drivers that haul these race cars all over the country all year long. Now we see that white car is Terry Labonte. That's David Green in third spot. Labonte fourth, and 31 car, I can't remember his name.
Well, the 31 car is Steve Grissom.
Yeah, right. The Channel Lock car, I can remember his sponsor, I just can't remember his name.
That's typical of a race driver. Harry Gant showing the way in number 7. Defending series champion Joe Nemechek is second, and Dale Earnhardt is coming through. Out of my way, please.
3 abreast. Why does that not surprise me? That's Butch Miller on the outside.
And that is Jeff Burton up high in the number 8 car, and Earnhardt's going to have to go up high and make it 3 wide as the slower car is on the low side.
Hermie Sadler on the inside. He wisely stays down out of harm's way.
Darrell Waltrip is running right behind Butch Miller as Earnhardt now hooks up with Burton and tries to come up to the front. The 12 car is Ed Barrier. Ooh, some really tight racing going on here.
Barrier trying to get out of these faster cars' ways. Almost ran in the car on the inside of him, trying to get out of the way, and there goes a guy on the outside of Darrell Waltrip. Meanwhile, there's Earnhardt. Ooh, Burton. The car came up in front, so he just turned left. Earnhardt follows him.
These guys trying to work their way back up into the top 10. They made pit stops during the most recent caution, and now trying to get back up front.
That was Randy McDonald in the GM Goodrich Canada car.
From Oshawa, Canada.
There we see David Green is being pushed to the back. That's their pole sitter back. Kenny Schrader, the white and blue car, is the pole sitter, Kenny Schrader.
And John Kernan has a comment on David Green.
David Green's team has elected not to change tires while pitting under both of those caution laps just earlier in the race, and the most recent one, I should say. A little tongue-tied down here, is a little loud. But he has radioed in. The car's just a little bit tight off the corners. And one other thing, some of the teams may try to go the rest of the way on fuel, but Green's crew, David McGee, the crew chief, says the calculations say they're about a lap short on fuel.
Oh, okay. We'll watch for that.
Well, a lap short means that they'll gamble. They'll try for it.
Oh, yeah.
Here's Ward Burton down on there. There's Earnhardt trying to go by Jeff Burton. The picture we saw just before that was Jeff Burton's brother, Ward Burton, trying to go take a spot away. There's Dave Resendiz, the Peak Antifreeze Split-Fire spark plug car.
Earnhardt weaving his way through traffic at the end of this line. But Harry Gant continuing to show the lead over Joe Nemechek.
Tell you what, if Nemechek would just get right up on his back bumper and drive close, these guys might be able to pull up.
Yeah, I think they could.
Pull away as we see Ward Burton has now moved that Hardy's automobile up into third spot. Well, he's a lap down.
Yes, he is. He's back in 27th. And Bill Elliott, by the way, for you Elliott fans, has pulled the Budweiser 4 behind the wall.
Nemechek this year sponsored by Dentine.
The 52 car of Schrader is third, fourth in line there. Burton is a lap down. Then comes Labonte, Green, Grissom.
I'll tell you what, that Jeff Burton and Earnhardt are going to the front. They just went by Tracy Leslie, the Detroit gasket car. Tracy was the 6th place car.
Jeff Burton, without question, one of the rising stars of this division.
And there they go by Grissom. I remembered his name that time.
Now they're going by Green in 44. David Green. Earnhardt ran with the Ward Burton in this competition last year. Now he's hooked up with Jeff, drafting to the front. Overhead once again from the Goodyear blimp.
And these guys continue their march towards the front. And they have fresh tires on. The cars in front of them have not changed tires, so it could be an advantage to Earnhardt and Burton.
Oh, one car way
That's
up
Ward
high.
Burton,
Yeah,
way high.
He was almost up in the marbles and throwing some dust.
There we see him on the outside of Kenny Schrader. Schrader was trying to get by Ward Burton. He and Terry Labonte trying to team up and go by. And here comes Jeff Burton. And Earnhardt's going to dive on the inside, go with the Winston Cup guys. Oh, he's going to dive on the inside of Labonte.
There ain't no way he's going to run with anybody. He's passing them all.
Man, that was close. What a gutsy move on Earnhardt's part.
Earnhardt back up to fourth now, right on the rear spoiler of Ken Schrader. As Schrader moves up to challenge the second position of Nemechek.
Now Schrader sees Earnhardt back there. He's hoping he and Dale Earnhardt can hook up and go by Harry Gant, take the lead.
Terry Labonte watching from behind in that 14 car. He's joined the draft down on the low side of the racetrack behind Earnhardt.
There they go by the second place car, and look, Schrader takes the lead, and here comes Earnhardt to take second place.
Ken Schrader, who was the pole sitter and fell back in the first stages of this race, has now moved back to the front, and Earnhardt is right with him. Labonte and Gant are side by side for third position. Labonte on the inside, Gant outside.
Tell you what, they need to get this issue resolved pretty soon. Oh, look here, Earnhardt going for the lead, Bob.
In the second corner, Earnhardt takes the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet to the low side and easily takes the advantage away from Ken Schrader. So it's Earnhardt back on top of the Goodys 300 with 84 laps down.
So he stopped to change 4 tires, and in what, 8 or 9 laps, took the lead?
Pretty impressive performance.
He just could make this 4 in a row. As you said earlier, he has won this race 3 years in a row, the last 3 years.
Only 4 drivers have won this race since 1982. Earnhardt has won it 5 times. Darrell Waltrip has won it 3. Jeff Bodine twice, and Bobby Allison was the winner of this race back in 1988. Earnhardt going for 4 straight wins in the Goodys 300. He is back on top. We're glad you could join us for this Goodys 300 at Daytona International Speedway. We'll be right back.
Most of our customers come to AutoZone for low prices and for parts they can replace themselves. But many people come because we speak their language. Things like duration and lift and compression ratios, stuff like that. Because a guy who's going to rebuild an engine, he won't buy parts from just anybody. And since AutoZone stocks complete engines, we know what makes them tick inside and out. Sure, we sell our best parts at our best prices every day. But if we know something that's going to help you do the job right, you get that free.
We've got a bit of an edge with the driver we have. We've got the best driver out there. So it's a matter of the mechanics just not overlooking anything. Al and I stay in constant communication during the race. I have to be aware of what he wants or needs, you know, at all times. I think the small details are is what makes the difference between winning and running second.
Don't wait. Get the News Weekly of Motoring, Auto Week. Don't wait for driving impressions. Auto Week drives them all and tells you about them first. Don't wait for car news. Auto Week covers the world. Auto shows, the new, the old, and brings it to you fast. Don't wait for racing news. Get the News Weekly of Motoring. Auto Week brings you the winningest coverage first. Don't wait. Get Auto Week, the News Weekly of Motoring, now. Call 1-800-828-4100 for a full year. 52 issues at the special TV price of $19.95. Just 38 cents an issue. Save $80 off the cover price. You've thought about it. Stop waiting. Do it now. Call 1-800-828-4100 for the News Weekly of Motoring.
High overhead and near the glistening sun is the Goodyear blimp, which today continues a 68-year tradition of appearances at major sporting events, the Stars and Stripes. So, Benny, not only is the blimp about your size, but it's almost as old as you are.
Bob, I'm not... That thing, well, I'm not nearly that big. Just all over, I put on a few pounds over the winter.
Yeah, a few. Dale Earnhardt leads the Goodys 300. Ken Schrader is in second position. He is third in line here. Second behind Earnhardt is the lapped car of Ward Burton, the Hardee's machine car number 2.
Here he comes out on the inside, takes a look, but can't make the pass.
Now, Benny, he's one of the 9 drivers that qualified on Hoosier tires. We told you earlier that Hoosier withdrew earlier today before the race began, putting all of those that qualified on Hoosiers on Goodyears and starting them at the back of the field.
So he's probably been adjusting his car all day, and now has finally got the thing somewhere close to right.
Boy, he loves to run that high line up there in the second turn, doesn't he?
He has been throwing dust for the last 15, 20 laps up where no one else has been all day long.
John Kernan has a comment on Ward's performance.
Well, the reason Ward is down a lap or so is because early in the race, guys, he was having ignition problems. The engine developed a miss. They finally worked on that, got a chance to work on it under the first caution period, got it fixed up. You're right, they were one of the teams that had to change over from Hoosiers to Goodyears, but they feel they've got that problem licked. Now they just want to see if they can make up some time, a lap on the racetrack, and get back in this event.
I'll tell you one thing, if you had anybody besides the 3 car in front of him, I'd say he might have a chance, but Earnhardt just hasn't been passed consistently all day. A couple of guys have gotten by, but it didn't take Earnhardt long to get back by them again.
And word is, it's a 79 car of Dave Resendiz is going to be black flagged as we show you another field summary. Look for your favorite driver. This is how they were running last time around. Not this lap, but the lap before this one. At the moment, we have 20 cars on the lead lap. There you can see those that are a lap down. By the way, the number 2 car running in 26 is 2 laps down. We've been saying that he is a lap down, but indeed he is 2 laps down to the leader. And there's the black flag coming out for 79, or maybe it was 72. Perhaps 79, Resendiz.
All these cars in line trying to get the maximum performance out of their car by using the draft. There we see Resendiz, the car who was black flagged by NASCAR. He's right behind Steve Grissom. And he probably will be coming to the pits the next lap. Yes, we can see him going slow down the back straightaway as Butch Miller pulls to go by on the outside.
He was running in the second group of cars behind the 8-car lead draft. Dave Resendiz, car number 79, peak Ford about to enter pit road after being black flagged. So he drops the car on the pit road.
And that's another Ford. We see many more Fords on the Busch Grand National Circuit this year than last. Last year it was Jeff Gordon. This year, Tommy Houston. Now Dave Resendiz, Jeff Burton.
He relinquishes 11th position to heed the yellow flag, or rather the black flag, and come in for a stop. There are the 8 cars that are running in the lead draft, and all but one of them is in the lead lap. Looks like everybody's pretty content right now, Benny, to ride out the next few laps before making any moves.
Well, right now there's nothing to be gained. They just stay in line and try to get away from the 8 or 10 cars in that next group behind them so they can settle this thing amongst 7 or 8 cars rather than 15 or 16.
While everybody is kind of holding their line right now, let's take a lap around Daytona in the National Head Injury Foundation in-car camera. And why do you ask that such an organization sponsors an in-car camera? Well, they're very concerned about the public's awareness of traumatic brain injury. It's the leading cause of death and disability in people 34 years of age and older. And they're trying to give this organization some exposure and to further the great work that the National Head Injury Foundation does in all forms of sports, but it's certainly motorsports also.
Yeah, well, and two of you see him signaling to someone behind him, said, look, let's go on the outside.
And who better to talk about medical situations than our own Dr. Jerry Punch?
I think it's wonderful that Mike Wallace and that crew are allowed the National Head Injury Foundation to put that insignia on the side of the car. You know, it's such a worthwhile cause. The national spokesman for that organization is Jim Brady. Many of you may remember Jim Brady. He was the press secretary for President Ronald Reagan, and unfortunately he was there the day that an assassination attempt took place, and he was shot and sustained a head injury. But Jim Brady is the national spokesman for the National Head Injury Foundation based in Washington, D.C. Bob?
Thank you, Jerry. Extremely worthwhile organization. Mike Wallace is carrying the in-car camera for us today. Right behind the 27 car, driven by Roy Payne, one of the ARCA drivers that's moved into the Grand National ranks for today's Goodys 300.
Meanwhile, back at the lead, nothing has changed.
Nope, nothing has changed. Earnhardt continues to lead. Schrader runs in second place. Harry Gant third. Then Jeff Burton.
Terry Labonte, Tracy Leslie, Joe Nemechek, David Green, Darrell Waltrip, and Chuck Bound. That's the top 10 cars.
There's a little bit of body damage on the right front of Schrader's car. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, he made some contact on pit road earlier as he was leaving the pit. Someone coming in the pits and some contact.
Had 3 cars unscathed.
Yeah.
Dale Earnhardt. He is just unbelievable in this race. Let's see if we can pick up that. Yeah, you can see it on the right front. Very corner of the race car. There's some damage. Try to get a real tight shot of it as it comes through the tri-oval. Yeah, there it is.
We can see that.
Lap him a little bit.
That was done on pit road.
97 laps completed. We're approaching the 100 lap mark. This is a 120 lap event. Dale Earnhardt firmly in control of the Goodys 300 at Daytona. There's a top 5 back up after this.
Most of our customers come to AutoZone for low prices and for parts they can replace themselves. But many people come because we speak their language. Things like duration and lift and compression ratios, stuff like that. Because a guy who's going to rebuild an engine, he won't buy parts from just anybody. And since AutoZone stocks complete engines, we know what makes them tick inside and out. Sure, we sell our best parts at our best prices every day. But if we know something that's going to help you do the job right, you get that free.
Big man Lawrence Funderburk takes Ohio State against Iowa, led by their big man A.C. Earl. Then Tennessee's top guard Alan Houston leads the Volunteers to battle freshman phenom Scotty Thurman and the Arkansas Razorbacks.
Back at Daytona International Speedway, and we will have one more Speed Week coming up from this location from here at Daytona tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the evening as we wrap up Speed Weeks 93 with the winner of the Daytona 500 by STP. Speed Week tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Well, we have a lot of Busch Grand National races to televise for you here on ESPN. This is the schedule. Darlington, South Carolina is our next race, then Bristol, Tennessee. Kroger 200 from Indianapolis Raceway Park. Others include Brooklyn, Michigan, again at Bristol, again at Darlington, as we carry the championship of this division to its conclusion. Now, looks like that Ward Burton, well,
he had passed Earnhardt down in 1 and 2 as you were showing that promo for our Busch races. He passed Earnhardt. Well, Earnhardt passed him back the next corner.
Would have nothing of that. And a yellow flag is out. Turn 2 debris is the call.
So now Burton is going to try to race Earnhardt back to the line to get one of his laps back. He's following Earnhardt.
He is 2 laps down to the field, so even if he does pass Earnhardt and come back, it will mean he's still a lap down. There is the debris. It's right at the crossover, Benny, where the passenger...
Once again, the spotters up on top of the roof of this tower has told these guys the racetrack gets clean, you can race back. And Earnhardt races him back to the line.
And Ward didn't get by him, so he's still going to be 2 laps down, I believe. How about pit stops, Benny?
I don't think they'll stop.
They've got enough fuel to go the distance. We've only got 19 more laps to go. And so we believe that there will be limited pit stops on this 4th caution of the day. Over $500,000 at stake here in the Goodys 300. Back after this. Yes.
Come on in for a winter of fun. Play Pebble Beach, Spyglass Hill, Pinehurst No. 2, or Quinto del Lago on one of our 4 state-of-the-art simulators. Swing away in our spacious driving range. Fine-tune your stroke on our putting green. Take a lesson from PGA pros John Paul or Mike Swim. Try or buy a set of clubs from the Golf and Ski Warehouse, or relax in our game room or lounge. Winter leagues, Friday night couples, weekly long drive and putting contests, tournaments, and more. Join the fun today at Winter Links.
Long ago, in a place where there was nothing, something incredible began to happen. As the centuries passed, a beautiful forest blossomed, and all was well. Then one day, a man was careless. And once again, there was nothing.
6-7. The punching power of George Foreman, possibly unmatched by anyone in the history of boxing. Superbouts presents Foreman's Knockouts, Friday night at 9:30 Eastern on ESPN.
Back at Daytona International Speedway, and the sport that we love so much can sometimes be so cruel. And so it was yesterday with an old friend of ours, Joe Boer, who was killed in the Goodys Daytona Dash race here at the Speedway yesterday. Joe was always had a smile on his face, always seeking you out in the garage area, very often to give you a bag of popcorn because he grew popcorn up on his farm in northwest Indiana. Great competitor, Joe Boer, killed yesterday at the age of 51 here at Daytona. The race must go on, and so it does. The field coming out of turn number 4 about to see the green flag and a resumption of competition. And when they see the green, it'll complete lap 105. They'll get it on lap 106, and so we'll have just about 14 more laps of competition.
The pace car pulls off, as we see from the in-car camera. Earnhardt brings them down, and the green flag is out.
Ken Schrader, Harry Gant, Terry Labonte, Jeff Burton, and Tracy Leslie are lined up behind the leader, Earnhardt.
And there's Darrell Waltrip trying to make a run with that Western Auto Chevrolet.
As the green comes out, 18 cars are still on the lead lap. That is Ward Burton, 2 laps down, way up high on the track, as he is so often in the second corner. Now the first 3 have broken away.
Here comes Darrell Waltrip. It's time to go. Joe Bessie, Hermie Sadler, 3 abreast. Here comes David Green following Darrell.
The time has come to step on the gas and see if you can get to the front and win this Goodys 300 and give Dale Earnhardt some competition. Darrell Waltrip is in a position that he has been in so many times. He's played it cool. He's been close to the front, but never in a real competitive situation. But now we may see Darrell Waltrip making a move.
Ever see Ward Burton right in front of Tracy Leslie.
First 4 cars, though, Benny, have separated themselves from everybody else.
They sure have. The only Busch Grand National driver is Jeff Burton. Meanwhile, this is a race for 5th we're watching.
There's Waltrip mired in this pack.
It's Randy McDonald on the inside, the Canadian.
David Green in 44. Hermie Sadler in the yellow car up high. That's Nemechek beside Sadler now in the Dentine Chevy. It is Earnhardt, Schrader, Gant, and Burton. The first 4 cars.
It's Terry Labonte. I said it was Burton, but I misled you.
You're right. Yep.
So they're all 4 Winston Cup drivers, the first 4 positions.
Burton is back in 6th. I'm not so sure that anybody is going to give Dale...
Crash coming off 2.
Oh, several cars once again involved in a crash. That's Tom Peck in 19 spinning to the inside. That's Mike Wallace carrying our in-car camera that is also crashed. Here's the 27 car of Roy Payne, still going, but obviously with some heavy damage in the front end.
The race back to the line. We'll see who's going to win it.
Well,
Earnhardt,
Earnhardt.
Schrader, Harry Gant.
Positions really didn't change as everybody backed off. There's Mike Wallace in the number 9 car. He's having trouble getting that car restarted after sliding to the infield grass off of turn number 2.
There really isn't much to start. Looks like just, well, he's got it going now, but there's some heavy damage to the front of that car. There was just a tremendous amount of traffic as they came off that corner. Here's the in-car camera shot. We can see where the hood's broken loose in the back.
Here's a replay, and we pick it up as the spins have already begun.
Watch this yellow car, Bob. Well, he goes out of frame, but he flew through the air like a kite.
Who was that, do you know?
I guess it was Daughter. Was that Bobby Daughter?
Could have been, yeah.
He's in a yellow car.
Wasn't Sadler because he was running up further to the front, I believe. Or was it Fedewa in 55?
It could have been Tim Fedewa in 55, yes.
Well, here's the in-car from Mike Wallace's perspective.
Comes to a stop.
And all you can do is hang on, isn't it?
And that was the Tim Fedewa car. Yes, it was that we saw.
There's a 27 of Roy Payne has made it back to the pit area, and they're trying to get that car back for the last few laps.
Here's one way to make your all-purpose vehicle a true all-terrain vehicle. Here's another, the Goodyear Wrangler GSA with triple traction. It's like getting 3 tires in one. You get an area for quiet highway traction, for wet weather traction, and for rugged off-road traction from Goodyear. Wherever you drive, on the road, off the road, down the highways, wet or dry, get the tire that's like 3 tires in one. Wrangler GSA, only from Goodyear. You'll know why we like to say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
We've got a bit of an edge with the driver we have. We've got the best driver out there. So it's a matter of the mechanics just not overlooking anything. Al and I stay in constant communication during the race. I have to be aware of what he wants or needs, you know, at all times. I think the small details are is what makes the difference between winning and running second.
It has been ESPN's pleasure to once again be associated with some great racing during Speed Weeks here at Daytona International Speedway. Today, our same-day delayed coverage of the Goodys 300 Busch Grand National Race. And our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Goodyear, #1 in tires. And by Valvoline. People who know use Valvoline. 5 caution periods have interrupted this race. We are about to go green from the most recent, and we should have, 8 laps to go when the green flag comes out, and Dale Earnhardt is looking strong for his 4th consecutive victory in this event.
Yeah, if you want to bet about 2 or 3 cents, I'll take the black 3.
I think I'll pass on that. But you never know. You know, Schrader is there, so is Gant, and so is Labonte. The first 4 are Winston Cup drivers, and Tracy Leslie is the best among the BGN regulars, and 5th then comes Jeff Burton.
We know that Schrader has some speed because his car was a pole winner.
Yep.
Is he going to be able to do anything with Earnhardt? Only time will tell, and we're running out of that.
Last year, Dale led 101 laps of this 120-lap event, and he's going to come close to that, but not break that this year. The green comes out. Here we go with the last 8 laps. That completed lap 112.
Here's Darrell on the inside trying to go by some of the cars in front of him.
Jerry Punch has a comment on Darrell Waltrip.
Guys, you know, why jettison the good thing? There are 2 cars in the field today that have been to victory lane in the Goodys 300. One of them, Darrell Waltrip, is driving. It's the car he won with in 1989, back when that car was a Monte Carlo and Dale Earnhardt's car. The last 2 years, the same race car, the same engine. Tony Ure took it home, covered it up, said, we're going back to Daytona in 1 year, and they brought it back.
Boy, how many years you think he can keep doing that? Just take it home and cover it up and bring it out every year and win this race.
I don't know. We see Walter trying to get by Tracy Leslie. Tracy fights back on the outside, and here comes Jeff Burton. He's going to challenge Darrell on the outside. And there's Earnhardt still leading.
Still leading the mostly single file formation down through the trioval and into turn number 1, with Schrader, Gant, and Labonte not too far behind. 4 cars in the lead draft, and then a little bit of separation back to 5th.
These cars awfully tight. Maybe Schrader and Gant, if they hook up and go together, they can do something, but
you have to think that that's in their strategy, maybe, or at least they're thinking about doing that, because that, I believe, is about the only way that they're going to have a possibility of beating Earnhardt.
Meanwhile, Tracy Leslie and Ward Burton is drafted up on the back bumper of Terry Labonte.
And we'll again tell you that that orange and blue car, 5th in line, is 2 laps down, driven by Ward Burton. 6 cars nose to tail off corner 2 down the back stretch with less than 6 to go now.
They're all trying to figure out, Bob, what can I do to win? We know that Earnhardt is strong. Schrader says, what can I do that will trick Earnhardt into giving Harry and I a lane to go through? Earnhardt's running high. He's running high. He'll probably run high until the last lap, and then he'll run low.
115 complete, 5 to go. Burton pulling out of line to the inside. That's Labonte up on the top, and the white number 14 running 4th. And then here comes Tracy Leslie, has had a fine race today.
I was going to say, that's what Ward Burton needs to do, is move over, let those guys go by, and let all the guys on the lead lap fight it out for the position.
Tracy Leslie started 21st. And now Burton is dropping back and letting him go. Nice move.
He's 2 laps down, and there's only 4 laps to go now, so he can't win. He's going to let the guys that can win decide it. There's his brother, Jeff Burton, down there, back behind him, that white car.
Jeff has had a good race. Started 2nd and is running 6th.
It doesn't look like Schrader and Harry Gant can get close enough to Earnhardt to do anything with him. Meanwhile, that Terry Labonte car, that white car, the number 14, that's his own car. He has started his own Busch Grand National team this year, and his father, Bob, who was Bobby's crew chief last year, is the crew chief on that car.
They'll come down and complete lap number 117. 3 more laps to go. Now, if Dale Earnhardt does hold off the competition and win this race, it'll be his 16th Grand National Super Speedway win, the most in BGN history. John Kernan has a report.
Bobby, you're just talking about Terry Labonte out there starting his own race team 2 years ago. He qualified the first time for this event. Then his brother Bobby, who was running for the points race in BGN, wrecked his car on Friday before the race. So Terry gave up his car to Bobby, who then wrecked it on Saturday and totaled that car. So what happened, the car that Bobby Labonte wrecked on Friday, he gave it to Terry to make up for the Terry car that he wrecked on Saturday. And the one from the Friday wreck 2 years ago is the one that Terry has out there on the racetrack today. Did I explain that okay? Did you get all of that?
I think I understand it. You might go over one more time slowly, though. No, well, 2 more laps to go. White flag will come out next time. Earnhardt, Schrader, Gant, Labonte, Leslie, your top 5 in the lead draft. Passing Ricky Craven there, who runs slow on the racetrack. Ricky has not had a very good day. He's 21st, a lap down.
Now he's 2 laps down. Earnhardt just put in that 2nd lap down. Okay, Schroeder, you got a lap and a half.
Yep.
You got it figured out.
Look at this. 188 was the last report on speed. That's a mile and a half an hour faster than they qualified. Here it is, coming down. White flag is being shown.
And Harry Gant tried to go to the inside of Schrader.
They almost collided. Well, we're going to have to see some movement if Earnhardt is going to lose this race. What is going to happen?
Tracy Leslie on the outside. He's the first guy to make a move.
Up on top of Terry Labonte in the battle for fourth, but Labonte has good momentum coming off the corner and takes back fourth position. We see no movement at the moment up front. Schrader and Gant are hooked together, but they cannot make a move on Dale Earnhardt. They go into turn number 3, still in single file formation. Gant lets the 7 car slide up the banking just a little bit. Schrader's in the middle of the racetrack. Earnhardt is down low. There will be no movement. Schrader may make a last-ditch effort, but Earnhardt is going to win this race. Schrader is second, Gant third, Labonte fourth, and Tracy Leslie finishes in 5th position. And Darrell Waltrip leads another group of cars down, and he finishes unofficially in 7th. There's the GM Goodrich crew. They have won another race here at Daytona. A Busch Clash victory, a twin 125 win, and now the checkered flag in the Goodys 300. This is his 6th victory in this event, his 4th in a row, and his 19th win in the series. And it was an impressive performance. He had him covered just about all the way from the drop of the green flag. We'll be back to talk with the winner after this.
You've seen it before. The ones who run with the herd, and the one who always seems to run alone. You don't see him often enough, though.
It's for the mountains of
Oil. It's the lifeblood of your engine. That makes your oil filter your engine's most vital organ. That's why Fram keeps going the extra mile to make the best protection even better. The Fram Extra Guard oil filter. Unique glass fiber paper stops more dirt than any other filter for the best protection ever. Fram Extra Guard. American or import, it's an extra lease on life.
At Daytona International Speedway, where Dale Earnhardt beat Ken Schrader and Harry Gant today in the Goodys 300. We'll go to victory lane in just a moment. First down to John Curtin, who's with Tony Eury.
Very happy Tony Eury. Tony, what do you guys got in that race car that nobody else has?
I think the biggest deal is between the seat and the steering wheel, really. It's been a good race car. We've raced this car for 2 years. One, we brought her back. That's 4 in a row for us, and matter of fact, it's even the same engine, so we got a good combination. We don't want to get rid of it.
Now, Jerry said you guys just covered up after Daytona. Did you have to do that this year?
No, we had to work on it a little bit this year. They got out the new templates. We had to work on it a little bit, and, but we didn't have to do a whole lot to it, and anything we did, most of the stuff we did to it helped it a little bit.
Well, he may not look like it, but Tony Eury is very, very happy. I'm sure another person is very happy is Tony's driver, Dale Earnhardt, who's in victory lane with Jerry Punch.
Thank you very much, John. It seems appropriate. This driver has been giving others headaches all week long here in Daytona, and today he wins the Goodys 300, the 4th in a row. Dale Earnhardt, congratulations.
Thank you, Jerry. You know, I'd like to thank the Goodys folks and Jim Goodrich and all the folks with their sponsor. They did a great job. Tony Eury and all the team did a good job. It's the 4th year they've won this race in a row, and this is the 3rd year with this race car, so they've done a good job with it 3 years in a row.
You lost a little ground a couple times, but the car drafted back up almost flawlessly.
Oh, it did a super job. It drove great and ran good in the draft. And Schrader and the guys were shooting at us there at the end, but we had enough to hold them off. The car got a little wide, but Schrader had his hands full with Harry and him trying to get by him, too.
Could this be an omen? Could this be the year, Dale?
I hope so. Everything's going great here in Daytona. We're looking forward to tomorrow, I guarantee you.
Dale Earnhardt winning the Goodys 300 in the Goodrich Western Steer Chevrolet. And take a look at the picture here. Taylor, Teresa, and all the family here in Victory Lane to celebrate.
He's had a lot of victories at Daytona in the past week, but hadn't scored a single Winston Cup point yet, Benny. And I know that the place that he really wants to be is in that spot tomorrow after the Daytona 500 by STP.
I guarantee you, Earnhardt, with all of his victories and what have you, the Daytona 500 trophy on his mantle would be the #1 trophy.
You're watching the complete field rundown of our Goodies 300 here this afternoon. We'd like to remind you that we have another live Speed Week coming up tomorrow that will air at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll talk to the winner of the Daytona 500 by STP. And, of course, our regular coverage of NASCAR Winston Cup competition begins at Darlington in the late part of March. 15 big races that we'll televise for you this year here on ESPN, including, of course, the final one at Atlanta Motor Speedway, place where we'll wrap it up and determine a Winston Cup champion for 1993. Our congratulations to Dale Earnhardt, victorious here at Daytona this afternoon. For Benny Parsons, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch, this is Bob Jenkins. Thank you for being with us.